Hi there, it's Kevin Tharp, and today what we're going to do is we're going to go into a broad overview of what you're doing for the semester project, the Global Perspectives website. I'll just call it the semester project so I don't trip over those words. So you'll notice that we have this set up as a module, just like we have the biweekly modules set up. Because we're going to be working on the Global Perspectives website, we've got this set up in a module down at the bottom below module 7. And what we're going to do is all the different information is in here, so you'll have access to that. Now, the information down here under group and individual project, we've already talked in the explanation of semester project and process flow. We've already talked about the dynamics of whether or not it's a group or individual project. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on here in this video discussing that, except for where it really has to be. But the things that you see down here will be based upon whether or not you're doing a group project or an individual project. And so it'll have links to the relevant things that are different in there. But to get started, let's dig on into it. So this is the overview document here. And what this is going to show us is just the thing boiled down. And so we've already done the process flow document talking about whether or not it's an individual or a group. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dig into the different phases of what we're doing here. There are three primary elements that you're going to be working on here. The first one is you're going to be creating a company and a website. The second thing you're going to do is a presentation of that website. And the third thing that you're going to do is peer evaluations. So let's get into the project itself. In phase one, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be creating a vision or an idea for a product that you're going to be working on. That's going to depend upon the requirements of the assignment, which are laid out in these various tables that contain the task information. So each of these different phases has a series of tasks and details about those tasks laid out. In phase one, you're going to pick a country where you're going to set up your business. You're going to create a company and a company name. You're going to determine what product or service you're going to do with that company. You're going to determine the company attributes, and the details about that are in there. You're going to do research into the country where that organization is going to be located. And then you're going to select one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that will be one of the driving reasons behind the company that you have created. So there's again a whole series of attributes or tasks here that you're going to need to participate in. Anytime you see a video or links that has information that you need in order to complete it, you need to watch those or read those in order to accomplish the goals of the assignment for that phase. And you'll notice that at the bottom, most of these, there's a rubric where you can see kind of roughly what's due in there. And at the bottom of each phase, you'll see a link to the next phase. So that's how I'm going to navigate through this with you. So in the phase two, we're looking at the content and the navigation, whereas in phase one, we were talking about the vision. Now we're going to start turning that vision into a reality. So going from the idea to the point where we're implementing that through this plan and this process. And so, one of the things that you're going to be doing is you are going to be setting up a website. And the way that you do that is that you are going to be setting it up at WordPress.com. You're going to be using their free hosting and setting up this website for that. And I have created myself a series of WordPress beginners. A WordPress beginners series which is a series of articles and videos that go into this. And so it becomes a good opportunity. I created these with this type of assignment in mind, where we're having students go in and learning how to use WordPress for the first time ever. And so I created these documents and I put them out on the web for anybody to use. And it talks about a series of things. So, for instance, the first thing that you're going to do is set up a free WordPress site. If you go into this, it's actually going to walk you through in detail how you go about doing that. There's usually going to be videos that support it, text, and information. And there's an entire series there uh, for use with the various things. So that's there for you to use as a resource. You don't have to do it, but honestly, I made them so that it'll make this easier on you. So I would recommend you do it, and I'll link to appropriate videos in different places when in the tasks. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a website. Now, here is one of the few areas where I'm going to talk about the difference between individuals and groups, because it's important that you understand this. In the groups, everyone in your group is going to have their hands on working in WordPress. So you're going to be all creating content and publishing it to the website. So the way that that's going to happen is there's going to have to be somebody in your organization who creates the website and then adds all the rest of the team as users in as administrators. So everybody's got access so that they can edit and create in there. If you're an individual, you are all those people. You're the only one that's going to be doing it. And so you don't have to worry about the step of adding users to the website. Once you get in there, you're going to select a theme, you're going to create pages, you're going to set up your navigation to those pages. So these pages at this point probably won't have much content, but that will allow you to set up the navigation menus. And then what you need to do is launch the website. Now, when you launch the website, this is actually a soft launch, meaning that you're not throwing it out there for the world to see. But if we don't have a URL that we can access, we can't look at it to see what's going on, we being the instructors. So what you will do is you will go in and you will launch this website, and the details about how to do this are included down in here. One of the things I would like you to do, though, is after you have done this soft launch, it's going to give you a URL for your site. It's right there below the site title. You can kind of see it in the yellow there. But what that's going to allow you to do is to take that and you're going to enter it into a a browser window. But don't just open it into this browser window, because if you've been working on it, your browser has your credentials stored there, and you're going to be able to see what it looks like on the backside. So when I go in here, you can see that I've got access to the backside. Well, what I want to do is I want to see what that looks like to the rest of the world. So I'm going to grab that URL, and that's my URL, but you'll have it, it'll be this yellow one. And what I want you to do is if go into either a incognito or a privacy or private window. Each browser has a function like this. And what that does is it allows you to browse through the website, through the internet, without carrying all that information around with you. So I enter that URL there, and you're going to see that that navigation up at the top that was in the previous window isn't there. So this is what it looks like to the rest of the world. And what having you do that will do is it will prevent you from turning in a URL that is not visible to us, because you don't want to turn in the URL to a site that we can't see, because that's not good for anybody. So make sure you do that. And there's information about how to do that down in this video. So next we're going to go to phase 3. So we've already finished with it. At this point, we've finished phase 2 with it, which is content and navigation planning. Now we're going on to creating the content. So we're going to do research, and we're going to create content based upon that. So in this phase, you are going to start putting the content into the different pages that you created in the previous step. And you're going to do the research into the countries, the sustainable development goals, all of that. And you need to make sure that you're keeping track of your sources and citing them appropriately whenever you're doing this research aspect of this. And so pages that you will do during this period is staff page, about us or company page, key performance indicators, a country page, the sustainable development goal page, and country regulations. Now, one of the things that I would like to do is I want to skip back for a second and show you in back in the in here in the module, there's a sample global perspectives project that Cami Peterson created to let you see kind of what this sort of may look like. So if you're wondering what on earth this is going to look like, or you want an idea, we don't want you duplicating this site. What we want you to do is to be able to see sort of one interpretation of how these requirements that are part of the project were laid out. And this is done in the exact same way that we're asking you to do it. So there's an e-commerce page, sustainability goal, all of that. And so if you're struggling with how do I do this, this will give you an idea of ways that you can go about doing that. So we created that for you so that so that you can have a visual frame of reference if you've never done any web development before. So at this point, you're going to be actually putting words into those pages that you've created. And this goes into the detail about the kind of information you're going to be including in that. And then we get to semester project phase 4. So each of these phases corresponds with a module. So each of the phases is 2 weeks long. When you get to phase 4, we're getting towards the end of the semester, and what you're going to do is you're going to finalize the work that you've done, make sure that everything's been done. There's a few additional pages that we have you add in this, but you're going to go through the requirements of each of the previous phases to make sure that you have that you've done everything that you need to do so that your project is as complete as possible. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create an executive summary, which is a Word document, and that's going to have information that we need so that we can see exactly where you satisfied certain of the criteria and tasks that you need to do. And that includes a link to your website, URL, better be working, screenshot of all your pages that are required, and where you use some of these extra elements that we want you using as part of it. And then from there, it goes into the presentation and the peer evaluation. And the way that that plays out is going to be a little bit different for groups and for individuals. So we'll handle that in a different video, but that is the overview. This is designed to give you skills in going from an idea to having published that content on the internet through a free to access content management system, which happens to be WordPress. WordPress is the #1 website hosting platform for small to medium sized businesses on the internet. So that's why we have you do it, because when you go out of school into the business world, there's a real strong probability that you are going to at some time have to deal with WordPress. So we want to give you some experience doing that. And that really sort of sums up what we're doing. That brings us to the end of this project. There's going to be more details in the different phases, the videos that are placed in each phases. So you're going to have more detail there. This is just to kind of give you an idea of where the whole thing is going to play out in the semester, how all of these phases tie together. And one of the things that we recommend is that as you're creating the content in the first couple of phases, you're actually plugging it into the website. It's not required to have those completed content until you get into phase 4. But it'll just make your life easier if you plug that in as you go along the way. And in the end, you're not trying to rush when all the things that have to be done at the end of the semester are coming. So that's all I've got for all of the team that teaches ICT 103. We're looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.